Welcome back to the Wisely Automotive YouTube channel, and you join me in Glasgow where I've just picked up a Model 3 which we're about to take back to London. Now if you're an OG subscriber, you'll have seen plenty of videos that we've done before between me and Martin of doing long distance journeys in EVs, and they're there really to show that it's doable and to show you sort of how you can do it, what apps to use, etc. But those videos end up spending quite a lot of time showing you the charging, and from a third-party perspective you might end up thinking that it's all a bit of a faff, and actually if you were in an ICE car you'd get to your destination way faster. So for a while now what we've wanted to do is try and do a video where we kind of do a side-by-side comparison of driving an EV versus a petrol or diesel car over a long distance, leaving at the same time side by side, to see what the real world impact in terms of arrival time is. And it's been difficult to arrange because to come and collect a car from somewhere like here, Scotland, to drive up in a petrol car to then drive it back, it's a little bit inefficient. However, by coincidence, Eddie, who's my colleague and is behind the camera right now, and you'll see later in the video, has sourced this Petrol 3 Series for a family member of his, and it was literally 2 miles away from the Tesla. So a really good opportunity to find out the real world difference in terms of how long it takes between driving an EV with quite a long range battery. Let's face it, the cards have definitely dealt in my favor. It's a facelift, it's got the heat pump, it's a long range. Picked it up fully charged as well, or thereabouts. And obviously I've got access to the supercharger, so that's basically as good as it can get. And now regarding Eddie's 3 Series, so it's a 3 Series Touring. Eddie, it's a, what engine is it? 3-cylinder petrol, so the one used in all the Minis, the i8 as well. We've just had an i8 and it shares that engine. Do you know what the real world range is?
No idea.
Yeah, it's not really something you look into when you buy a petrol car, but fair enough. So what we'll do in that case is we will reset all the trip meters and all that kind of stuff, because although we probably won't show you the whole journey, at the end we'll add up all the costs regardless of who arrives first. Let's face it, Eddie's going to arrive first because he doesn't have to stop a couple times, but it'll be interesting. So just while I'm waiting for Eddie to sort his car out, I'm having a quick look at the route to see what is doable. So I've put in Wisely Automotive as the destination, and it's suggesting 2 chargers. So Tebay, which I'll get to on 16%, I need to stay there 50 minutes. And then Rugby, again, I'll get to there in the teens in terms of percentage, and I've got to stay there 25%. They're both sites I like and sites I know, and then that'll get me to work with 11% with a good buffer. So I think unless something goes wrong, I'm going to go with what the car's saying, and it'll be interesting to see how much my charging time actually compares with what the system's saying. This is Eddie.
Hello.
Say hello, Eddie. We were just having a chat to try and make this as fair as possible. This is pretty casual. It's not like a super accurate video like what Martin does, but we do want to set some ground rules. So we're saying you're basically of the intent of getting back and not letting anything sort of stop you. So speed limits,
70 miles an hour GPS,
okay,
Waze, as much as I can.
Okay, fine. Cool. And the one thing I think personally, to try and keep it slightly fair, is I think we should take the same route, so that if one of us, I don't know, goes across and down the A1 and one goes down the M6 and there's a, huge traffic on, it's 50-50, it's not down to the fuel source. So are we in agreement that I've had a quick look on the Tesla and it's suggesting obviously all the way down to, what's it called, the M74, the picturesque one, and then basically all the way down the M6.
I had a quick look at Waze and it was about the same. I think it was going down there anyway, so
cool.
It's probably the same.
Okay, fine. So you promise to stick to that route, no cheating.
Yeah.
I'll try my best to not dilly-dally and go slower to try and conserve range, because I do.
You usually do.
You're not talking to Martin here, you're talking to me. For the purpose of comparison, are you going to stop for about 30 minutes somewhere to eat?
I don't know how long I'll stop for. I have the freedom of choice. I'll probably choose a nice services.
Tebay is very nice.
Yeah,
so okay.
Fill up and get going.
All right.
Grab some food.
Okay, fair enough. And again, given this is like a real world test, we're actually leaving, or we said on the plane earlier, we will leave with whatever range we have, and by stroke of luck, I've got about 90% and you're about 50% of your tank. So the cards didn't really go in your favor, but that's fair's fair.
Yeah, it
so
is what it is.
As I showed you earlier, I've not actually made any changes, and I'll be running Waze alongside the Tesla navigation just down here, just to keep an eye on track on sort of accidents and stuff, because I find that to be super quick to update and quite accurate. But assuming nothing goes wrong today, if I just open this, it's still the same route. So Tebay, 50 minutes, try and see if I can get Eddie to take a long time eating the sandwich, and then Rugby Services, and then back 7 p.m. So let's see realistically whether that's true. And if I go down here, I'll reset the current one, I'll reset A, reset B, put it into the driving mode I like, which is chill. Make sure autopilot is enabled, and it is. Auto steer. The last thing just to consider is sort of comfort and sort of temperature levels. So unlike Eddie, who literally doesn't have to worry, I'm basically going to try and keep the car on 21.5 degrees. That should keep me comfortable. I don't want to wear my coat in here, and I'm going to use the heated seats throughout. Okay, so off we go. So departure time is 10:45. Oh, I haven't done this. We are all set up, everything's been reset, and I think we are pretty much straight onto the M8 and then down to the M54, M74, 74. We'll let him go. Let's talk tactics. Not that I have many cogs and levers at my disposal. Initially I was thinking what I'll do is I'll try and get ahead of Eddie as early on as possible, especially when we're still in sort of 60-mile-an-hour zones and you might get behind the wrong car or whatever. But realistically, he'll just catch up, and then as I start to need to conserve range, things will get a little bit tight for me and I'll have to slow down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick behind him, not for the purpose of slipstreaming or anything like that, but just so I'm not pushing him to go faster. And realistically, as soon as we're on the on the M73, we're just going to sit at 70 anyway. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on what the Tesla is projecting that I get to Tebay superchargers with. So currently it's saying 16%. So obviously I don't mind if that starts dwindling. It is 124 miles away. So I think he said he's got 170 miles range in his petrol tank. So he's gonna get there for sure.
You join me in the 3 Series, 122 miles later. My fuel lights just popped on. Still got 50 miles or so to go of range, but there's a services coming up and I'm hungry. It's 12:30. We had an early start at 4 a.m. this morning, so I think an early lunch is deserved. Roads have been very clear, been on cruise control the entire time, give or take 1 minute. So average speed 70 miles an hour, 42.3 mpg so far. Not too dissatisfied with that for a small little engine and a reasonably big car. And yeah, pulling into the services in about 5 minutes. So I think Arthur will be there as well. I can just about see his bright Tesla headlights in the back.
You joined me about 5 miles from Tebay, which was the planned first stop, and it was proposing that I'll get there with 17% state of charge, and actually it looks like I'm going to be rolling in with 15%. Now I've been going pretty much 70 miles an hour, locked on cruise control all the way, and wipers are going. It's very salty. I've got the heating going, so generally I think that's pretty good going. And at the moment I've got a rated range of 53 miles left, which is 16%. So you know, you could probably go further, but I am going to stop at Tebay because it was the original plan. I think Eddie, we communicated with Eddie that that's where he'll stop to, I guess, do his one and only fuel stop. Obviously once he's filled that car with petrol, he'll be able to go all the way to London. I guess somewhat depends on his bladder situation. I have a feeling he'll just press on and do it all in one stint from Tebay. So interesting things to know. It started because obviously it knows which superchargers I'm stopping at, and it's telling me how many minutes to charge for and all that kind of stuff. It actually starts preconditioning the battery well in advance. And when I say well in advance, we were 100 miles out from Tebay, so I was basically only 20 miles into the journey when it started doing the preconditioning to improve the speed at which the battery will charge. There's 12 stalls at Tebay, and it's showing that 11 of them are free, so I think we should be seeing a really good charge rate. Might even not have to stop for the full 50 minutes. I need to go to the loo anyway. I need to get myself some food and some water, make one phone call, so usual kind of motorway services stop, and then I'll come and sit in the car and see when I'm going to leave. But yeah, like I say, at this point Eddie will be pressing on earlier, so this is where the difference starts to grow. What's really useful in Teslas is if you click this for your sort of energy tab, if you've got a destination set in the nav, so in this case about 129 mile journey, it kind of this line forecasts how your range should deplete as that journey goes on, and where it's green it's actually saying that you've done better than it was predicting, and where it's orange it's saying you've done a bit worse. So I don't know if this camera will point that out, but it's a really useful thing to just keep tabs on the situation and just making sure you're not being inefficient for things you didn't even sort of consider. It gives you little sort of pointers, so it will say navigating to a supercharger will save 6.3 minutes charging time due to battery preconditioning, which has consumed 33 miles so far this trip. That's interesting. Staying below 70 miles an hour would have saved 4.7. Okay, maybe once or twice I just had to get cut that bit, man. And it also says 5.4 mile per hour wind from the northeast saved 0.3 miles this trip. That's pretty granular details to be giving you about your consumption, but really you don't even need to consider all that because it's done within 2% what it said it would do, and I think given the time, temperature, etc., that's not bad. Contrary to what I was expecting, Eddie has not gone straight to the petrol station. This is often the thing with motorway services. If you want to eat something other than a sandwich from the BP petrol station, you have to stop first at the services and then go to fill up. So you're still kind of getting in and out of the car several times. Whereas this way, the car's parked and charging while you're doing all those things. This camera's very dirty. It's incredibly salty out there. But yeah, let's plug straight in. Okay. So don't want to waste any time. And we're locked in. And it's blinking away, so that means it's charging. It's now saying 45 minutes, not 50. The charge rate is speeding up really quickly, and I reckon given all these favourable conditions we might be not far off 1,000 miles per hour. And I don't want to make the time loss any more than I need to so that Eddie doesn't get ahead too far.
129.8 miles later, 42 mpg, 70 miles an hour. Yeah, not bad. Go grab some food. Hi.
Check out my charging rate. It's not bad. Do you think we'll break 1,000?
There you go.
There we go.
Well, I'm going to go in and get some food while you watch your charging rate.
No, because I've added it to my app, so I'm coming with you. Right, so it's all just got a bit competitive because we've just eaten. Eddie had a sort of full lunch. I've had a sort of a snack because I'm decided I'm going to eat properly at the next stop. But yeah, he's just finished. He's just gone to the loo. I've told him I'll wait by the entrance, but actually I'm already making a head start to just unplug the car. There's him, and yeah, it's got busy now, but the speed at which this car has charged is just incredible. We're still at 43 kilowatts on 94%. That's really impressive, and I think we've got enough with a good buffer now to get to Rugby Superchargers. Mind you, saying 3%. Right, so I've got 8 minutes to go.
I'm ready to go and add a nice big meal. You just had a little snack.
Right,
so.
you go fill that up.
Yeah, that's true.
So any queues and stuff like that. Anyway, we'll see who gets off first, and I guess I probably won't see you now.
See you back at base.
Have a good journey.
And you.
Bye.
I've just filled up. Cost £90 at this rip-off service station. Motorway service costs are a bit ridiculous. I think it's about 143 at a regular station. But that is where the Tesla superchargers are as well, and what you do when you're on a road trip. So £90, 534 miles range. That is quite punchy. I doubt we'll get that, but we'll see. Now for the 200 something mile drive home.
Eddie's fuel stop was a quick one because he's gone. So there you go. I don't know how far ahead he got, but it can only be a matter of minutes. So yeah, back onto the motorway, get my podcast going and lock in 70 miles an hour while we can do it, because I'm sure by the time we get to sort of Birmingham area, it's going to be pretty bad. We decided no toll because there's not much in it, and really we're not in a rush to get anywhere. So that's that. I am currently forecasted to get to Rugby Services with 21% state of charge, even though when I left it was saying 10%. So don't know where I've gained that. I've been pretty much doing 70 all the way. In fact, I've caught up with Eddie, even though he was maybe 2 or 3 minutes ahead of me. I think the true speed of a Tesla speedometer is a little bit more accurate than the BMW. The BMW overreads by about 2 or 3 miles an hour. But in any case, I am pressing on. I will stop at Rugby. I was toying with going further, pressing on to Newport Pagnell, but to be fair, because of what I'm trying to achieve, which is simply get to London as quick as possible, and I'm going to manage with one charge anyway, there's no point kind of trying to get anywhere on fumes. And actually it'll work against me because the superchargers at Newport Pagnell are the slower 150 kilowatt ones, whereas the ones at Rugby Services are 250s, just like what we experienced up in Tebay. And there's like, let me just check, there's 28 of them, so you know we're not going to struggle to charge, and we'll charge faster. Pulling into Rugby Services, and this is the moment Eddie officially takes the win. So I think, like I said earlier, we all knew he was going to win, but it's a case of by how much. But to be honest, really, I don't think it's the car that's the winner. I think it's the driver, because I've done many road trips, long distance drives with Eddie, and he's incredible at doing long distance stints, and he's got a quite sizable bladder on him. But nevertheless, yeah, if I was in this car or in that car, I'd be needing to pull over to stop now anyway. It's 4:15. I've got here with 21%, so I could have got further by probably about, it's saying 68 miles on the GOM, so I probably had another 50 miles in there. But yeah, I literally don't think I could get there, so might as well plug in here and time it well so we spend as little time as possible here. Annoyingly, despite about half an hour the system saying that there's loads of superchargers, it is pretty much rammed. Has that guy just got the last one? No, there's one left. Well, there's one on the other side, but we will grab this one. Hopefully it works. Okay, we'll plug straight in and work out a plan. $121 kilowatts, and yeah, given the amount of use, I'm not expecting to see a whole lot better than that. If we got to like 180, 190, that would be amazing. But importantly, it's saying 14 minutes, so literally, given where these chargers are located in comparison to the actual motorway services, I'm not really going to have much time. I need to go to the toilet, get maybe a bottle of water and head on. So yeah, I think literally it's this 14 minutes that's going to be the difference between the petrol and the EV. I really need to go to the loo. I've unplugged early. I've done this stint enough times to know that that's going to be enough for me to get back to London comfortably. And yeah, literally just enough time to go to the loo and quickly pop into M&S. Water, half the price of W.H. Smith at M&S. Who'd have thought it, but that's 2024 for you. I'm not really that hungry after that Tebay sausage roll, so that'll do me. And just the repercussions of a 4:30 a.m. start are starting to wear in, so just in case, picked up a Red Bull. But yeah, 4:32, let's go. 2.5 hours, arrival time 7:05 because of the traffic. It was showing 6:45 at one point, but yeah, let's do it. Very, very tempting to go above 70, but A, it's illegal, and B, it wouldn't be fair on Eddie. Sticking to 70 as much as I can. It's really into rush hour now. But yeah, I took on essentially 120 miles, 130 miles of real world range in, I think, about 15-16 minutes, which is pretty much the time you need to go to the toilet, buy yourself a water, and walk to and from the car. So yeah, lucky getting the last space, but to be fair, by the time I got back there were a few spare ones. So this is the thing about sites like Rugby, with so many chargers, you're bound to have a quick turnover rate. There'll always be someone leaving just as someone arrives. Let's crack on and try and bust that myth of if you've got an electric car, it's going to take you hours longer to get from A to B. Well, Scotland to London, I think, given everything, and also with the traffic in London, we might be able to get this down to a 15 or 20 minute difference between Eddie and me. So yeah, and I need to clarify again, if I was in that 3 Series, I would have been stopping in Rugby anyway, or at very most Newport Pagnell, because yeah, I can't do stints like that.
Hello.
Hey Martin, are you in the showroom?
Yes.
Okay. We may have a issue, which is that I inadvertently continued on the A14 and went round the M11 rather than down the M1. The big issue is I think I'm going to get there before him.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is fine, but obviously I've completely stabbed him in the back because it's not really, you know, I've broken my own rule. Or I just wait round the corner and you let me know when he's there, and then I arrive 10 minutes later and
We just have to go with it.
Yeah, so the EV actually wins.
Amazing.
At least we've got a clickbait title. Oh god, he's going to be so angry at me. As expected, Eddie wasn't at all impressed with my rule breaking, and once again, I admit it's entirely my fault for compromising the challenge. He would have got back about 15 minutes sooner if we'd taken the same route. However, this inadvertently shows that the route you choose and how long your comfort stops are affects your overall road trip time just as much as your fuel source.
Long range EVs, they've come a long way. I think the result's fair. We got here at basically the same time, and I think it's realistic. You're going to stop to get a drink, to do a wee, whatever. So it's and now they charge quick. It's
absolutely, and like you say, it's come so far. That rate of improvement is just continuing. So in 4 or 5 years, we'll be in a, you know, probably twice as fast, and etc. I guess no surprise then that these Model 3s are selling really well. This one will be going up for sale soon, being a facelift with a heat pump, etc. Hopefully this video has proven exactly what it can do at sort of the mid-20s. Such good value and such a good all-rounder, and I think, you know, this video might be food for thought for someone who is considering something like this. I imagine on a 70 plate it'd be about mid-20s, maybe high 20s or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So there's quite reasonable price parity there. If you do that kind of trip maybe once a month or a few times a year, I think it's a no-brainer with all the other advantages. But yeah, an interesting fight. Martin's just reminded me that obviously we've been collecting all the data from both cars, so he's going to put everything up now and he's going to crunch the numbers with conclusions of how much each car costs per mile, efficiency, and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more, please make sure to follow, and we'll see you in the next one. I'm not bothering with the... Do I have to?